All right, so this is my first YouTube video. We're gonna get straight into it. I was hoping that I could have this set up and that I could have this set up, but as you can see, it's saying about 28 minutes to remaining. I had to update my computer. Anyways, this is gonna be raw. I'm not gonna edit this at all. I'm just gonna talk about kind of my story and what led me here to crypto and why I do what I do and why I think the way I do about some things. So it all really started with a phone call that I got when I was visiting Newfoundland. That's another part of Canada that I traveled to. I was initially going to go to school there for psychology, but I got a call that my mom had passed and that I had to go home. So I ended my trip and went home to see my family, and I was left as the guarantor, the one to make the decisions about everything when it came to the funeral, when it came to everything like the possessions, the boat, the house, all of the stuff my mom had left behind. So I was handling it as well as I could, as well as anyone can, like you always hear about people's parents dying and you think, man, I can't imagine how bad it would be. And now actually going through it, it's way, way worse than I could have ever imagined when I had my friends or, someone I know lost their parent. And I thought, that must be horrible. That must be the most horrible feeling. And the feeling that came from it is actually worse. Than you could ever predict. So if one of you have gone through it, if some of you have gone through it, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't lost your parents yet, I'm happy they're still around and make sure to show them extra love. But I come home, I end up getting into University of Toronto, which was the top school for psychology anyways. So I end up going there, and I'm still dealing with all this stress that is coming from having to deal with the estate and having to deal with just like life, and are my brothers going to be okay, is everyone going to be okay, and then I had a manic episode. I'm bipolar, so a manic episode is pretty much when you just get extra high on life. Like if I am normally low and I'm normally depressed, it is the opposite of that. I'm up, I want to do stuff all the time, creativity's flowing, blah blah blah. But the manic episode led me to a lot of destruction. I was spray painting the house. I was just drinking and, drinking, driving, doing stupid shit. Stuff that I'm not proud of. But at the time, like, I was just so fucking out of it that I didn't know any better. But I kept on going down that path, kept on spray painting the house and fucking up chandeliers and throwing shit over the banister. My whole theory of this was that it's okay to hurt things, but it's not okay to hurt people. So I destroyed my car. If you guys saw on Twitter, there's a picture of my car and it's fully painted there. That's because I destroyed it first. First, I was smashing out windshields and I was taking out the side mirrors because I'm like, fuck this car. Like I just lost my mother, and I lost my mother due to alcoholism, which came from abuse that she had gone through when she was younger, and just trauma that she never dealt with, and abuse that she had gone through when she was older. So like that was my whole thing. I'm just like I'm like be extreme about it, and be extreme to the point that it is okay if we break things. Like my car, I can replace it. I ended up replacing my car, but you can't replace a human's life. So yeah, that was my whole idea in my head. Obviously, it just seemed more destructive than it did seem productive, but in my head, it made a lot of sense. It was, hurt things, not people. Things can be replaced, people can't be replaced. And so forth and so on. And I went to this point until, the cops were at my house every day because I had someone, who's worried about me, worried that I was getting into something that was too harmful for me. But I wasn't doing stuff that was too bad or actually against the law because all of it was on my own property, my mom's property. But there was a point where I was just losing it to the point where I totally destroyed the house. It was like spray painted the whole house, like was just going off. And I was probably high on fucking fumes from the spray paint. And yeah, that it got bad enough that day when they called the cops, they're like, "Are you ready to go?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm ready to go." So they chained me up, put the fucking handcuffs on me because they were worried that I was a threat to them. So I understand that. I wasn't upset about that. But I felt like I was in a fucking movie. Like I felt like what I did and what I was doing and the movement that I was creating, and I did have some fans following this movement. I thought that I was going to change the world. Like that's what happens when you're bipolar, when you're manic. You think like you're gonna change the world with something. And I thought I was in a fucking movie. I thought the cop was a fucking actor, and then I got to the mental hospital. They fucking gave me some shit to calm down. And then I figured out soon enough that I wasn't in a movie, that I was in the mental hospital, and that I had bipolar, and it was undiagnosed because I did have multiple bipolar episodes prior to being diagnosed then, but I guess just no one caught it. It could have been associated to puberty or just being a bad fucking kid or whatever it was. But yeah, I was in the hospital for like 4 weeks or so, 4 to 6 weeks. And then I was let out probably a little bit too early because I kept on being destructive. But then I had to start school. I started school, was doing well. By the time I ended my first semester at U of T on the computer, this is all while COVID's happening, by the way. Like, COVID's happening while all this shit's happening, too. But, I'm doing good in school. I was on an academic honor roll, but I was also learning about crypto at this time because I was sports betting, and I kept on losing fucking money on sports betting, and I was betting my Serb checks and whatnot, whatever. Um, but I kept on losing money on sports betting, so I'm like, searching up, is there other ways to make money online? We're on lockdown, there's not much things to do, right? So then I'm like, fuck. I found crypto and I started looking into it for a little bit. It wasn't too long until I deposited some money on a Binance and started trading back and forth, making little money here, little money there, nothing serious. Um, but then moving on from that, I decided to not continue with school and go full into crypto. There was a little bit more that happened between there and then. It wasn't just like right away. I was like, I'm dropping out of school, I'm doing crypto. I started to like understand crypto a lot more. I started to make money in crypto. First, I put money on Doge because I saw it was pumping on Binance, and there was that one day where it just started pumping like crazy out of nowhere. And I'm like, okay, it's up 300%. This sounds like a good idea to hop in. So I hopped in, and I ended up like making, I think I put like $1,000 onto it, and I ended up pulling out $6,000. So I'm like, that's fucking crazy. So I'm like, what is Doge? And I look into it, and it's a meme coin. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna invest into another meme coin. The next meme coin I came across was called Doge, and it was like Doge but deflationary. So I decided to invest into that coin as well, and I put like all of the money I had into that. And I don't know why I did that at the time. I had no common sense when it came to like balancing portfolio and shit like that. But anyways, I put something close to $10,000 in, and I ended up pulling out $44,000 within like some days. So obviously I'm like, okay, so crypto's legit. You can make money. It's fucking awesome. I have a lot of money now. Let's see what I can do with it. And then I was with various projects, just helping them. I, was always active in communities. So being active in communities, they ask you if you want to, be a moderator. So I'd be a moderator, and then I'd move up to an admin, and then I'd be, running part of the project or so. So started out doing a lot of that, and then got a good break with Kishimoto. My brother was the marketer, and they were overwhelmed and they needed a project manager. So my skill at that level time was like I was able to pretty much take on, Kishimoto. I definitely was able to, as I was the one who brought Kishimoto to where it was with the team. But yeah, I made a lot of money off of Kishimoto and gained some respect, and that kind of like made me certain that I was going to be okay in crypto, because but between the money I made and between the respect that I've gained and the connections I made, I'm like, I can always figure out a way to make money in crypto and be fine in crypto. But life just keeps fucking happening as it does, and we finally get my mom's house clean. It's ready to sell. Everyone in that house is depressed. It's me and my two brothers. The other younger brothers are with their dads. But we get the house ready to sell, and then we find a buyer, perfect, clean it up a little bit, and then I'm excited to move into our new place. So it was me, my brother, and my best friend. We were going to move into a new place together, a 4-bedroom, not too far from where we were, in a decent location for me. I was doing crypto at the time. I didn't really care where I was. But then literally the day that I moved into that spot, I got a call saying my youngest brother's dad had died. So that was my stepdad. That was the dad that I considered my dad. I was the closest with him. My dad wasn't around growing up, so he was more of a father figure to me. And he had passed away just a year after my mom, and the same date we moved into the new place. So now I am looking back to the will that my mom left, and it says in the will, if any of the deceased, if any of the parents, the boys' dads, pass away, that I would take responsibility of them and be their guardian. So then I was thrown into being, a parent figure and having custody of a child at that age. I was 25 at the time. Obviously none of this was planned, but it's my little brother. I'm gonna fucking make it happen, right? Like, I love my brothers dearly, all of them. My mom always said brothers stick together like glue, and I take that shit very seriously. Like, I'm there for my brothers if they need me, always. But yeah, so that happened, and then life starts to get kind of normal again. I got him in school. He's doing school from home because of COVID and everything, but whatever. I'm figuring out my new life, with having a kid that I'm parenting, and dealing with my mental health at the same time. Still talking to my psychiatrist, switching up meds and shit, and all the fun and good stuff that comes with that. But life was starting to get more normal, and then just 4 months from now, my dad passed, and of course that shook me up. But he didn't have the involvement in my life like my mom did or my stepdad did. So I was just used to death by that point. Like, and that's like the whole thing. Like, between Envy died and like me, using dead roses and I got skulls here. I got some skulls over there. Another skull here. It's just because I got used to death. And by that point, I was sad. Obviously, I lost my dad. There's a lot of things that I wish I could say. But, when someone's gone, they're gone. And whatever regrets you have, you don't get to iron them out, unfortunately. But looking at everything that's happened now, I am in a new place now with a new girl. I'm here with my brother. I don't live with my roommates. I don't live with my older brother anymore. I'm doing somewhat well when it comes to social media and getting myself out there and trying to be a good influencer that is going to help people and not take advantage of them. Doing my best to do that each and every day. I wake up and I do my blog talks, and now I'm transitioning into the YouTube thing. But I just hope people see that me waking up every day and working the way that I do and speaking the way that I do and encouraging other people constantly and not trying to tear people down. I also quit drinking during this time. I was an alcoholic when my mom passed. I just started drinking more, to the point like I'd wake up and I'd start drinking, and then I'd be drinking till I went to bed. But now I'm almost 500 days sober. Like, there's a lot of good that happened during these bad times. And I just want everyone to know that if you have been given a shitty hand that was dealt to you, a bad hand of cards, that you could still play them wisely and make a good life out of it. I'm not saying that I have the best life, and I wanted to make this video because I do show pictures of myself, wearing designer, and I'm taking pictures of myself looking good, out for dinner, looking happy, all that kind of shit. But I figured, why not start my YouTube video with the true transparency of life for me and how I got here, and that behind every success story there is a lot of trials and tribulations that go on. But I hope that I could just inspire one person to go through their shitty situation and go through it graciously. And honestly, this was hard for me to talk about. I knew this was going to be a hard video. Don't know how many people are going to watch it, how many people are going to care, but that doesn't matter. This is how I wanted to start out. Actually, I wanted to start out with the fucking microphone, and I wanted to start out with the camera that I bought, but things don't always work out the way that they should be. I told you guys I'd get this video out today, and now we're still able to get this video out today. 20 minutes long. I don't know, that's pretty long for... I was thinking I could get this out in 10 minutes, but 20 minutes it took. That's it, I'm out.